No. Alright! Thanks for watching Helldivers 2 Community. I have been your host, Fontamin, and thank you for clicking on my clickbait thumbnail. I worked very hard on it. Remember to smash that like button and subscribe, even though turning off subscriber alerts has gotten me way more views than I ever had on this channel. Anyway, those of you who made the arduous trek of watching the first 16 seconds of this video will probably want me to explain myself. As of today, with patch 01.000.100, armor actually works. And it's not good. I came to this conclusion using the following method. Taking the B-27 Fortified Commando armor with a armor rating of 200, and the SA-32 Dynamo helmet, which, as far as I know, still secretly adds 6 armor even though helmets do not have stats, gives you 206 armor rating, which is the theoretical maximum that you can have in this game. Now, logic dictates that this should make you a god. And it doesn't. It does basically nothing. At the cost of all of your ability to sprint, you still instantly die to acid bugs, still die in seconds when lit on fire, cannot survive a near miss from the new meteor shower mechanics. And in one instance, I even lost half of my health in a single attack from a scavenger. Now, this wasn't the most scientific testing ever. I basically put the armor on and just tried to see exactly how irresponsibly I could play and still get away with it. And in some instances, I did find situations where I was noticeably more durable than before the patch, only to then find situations where I lose half of my health from a mook enemy in a single attack. So it could be that armor is still not actually working properly, or it is intentionally designed to be the most unreliable thing ever. And this is me playing with the maximum amount of armor that you could possibly have. So that means that it's completely worthless anywhere else. And this is a major issue, I think, if we take this at face value and assume this is what the developers intended. Why? Because this is a scale that doesn't work. Let me explain. Currently, our choices of armor represent a scale: speed and protection. The apex of speed being represented by the now very well-known Trailblazer Scout outfit, which gives you damn near infinite sprint. In the middle of the scale rests basically every other armor set in the game. And at the other end of the scale, representing
maximum armor,
is the Fortified Commando and Dynamo combination, which I have just elaborated on is either worthless or so horribly inconsistent you can't rely on it. But you know what end of the scale is 100% reliable?
maximum speed.
Which is why before the patch, every Tom, Dick, John, Joe, and YouTuber was running around using the Trailblazer Scout outfit and an energy shield, and after the patch, they will probably still be doing the exact same thing. And you will have just as many people as before saying that that is the only way to play this game and forcing as many people as possible to play that way. Even though the metagame for Helldivers 2 is actually extraordinarily lenient, and now after the patch, even more things are worthwhile and totally usable. But I digress from the point. If you have a scale, and people are only picking one side of the scale, that isn't balance! Now, I may seem a little bit angry about this fact, but I'm honestly annoyed because I keep seeing this same problem crop up in game design, where tank and tank archetype classes and builds are crippled to the point of at best being suboptimal or at worst being completely worthless, while maneuverability-based builds are just allowed to run wild and uncontrolled. And everybody pretending that this is balance. It's not balance! You're just pretending that speed tanking is more skill-based somehow when, guess what? That guy in the Trailblazer Scout uniform with his Jimmy Rings brand Halo 2 energy shield, the Breaker shotgun, and the railgun are still incredibly safe, just as safe as they were before the patch. He just might be using the Punisher now. And this flies directly in the face of what Arrowhead posted on their website about the balancing changes in this patch. They said they wanted to tone down the energy shield because it was too safe and wanted to remove some of its must-have qualities for builds. And guess what? You did basically nothing about that. So the guy who chose no armor and all sprint has no downsides. Because until the day, I think, that heavy armor is equatable to having an energy shield, there is no point in taking heavy armor. It will always lose to people taking maximum sprint, running around the map as fast as possible, completing all the objectives, mining all the sites, and running away from any engagement that isn't good. Heavy armor might as well not even be in the game, or we might as well roll back to launch conditions where nothing mattered but sprint, and most of the armor sets in the game were cosmetic. And people should not pretend that building a tank class that is actually good is impossible, unskilled, or will break the balance. And this is even easier because we're a PvE game and not a PvP game. The exchange works like this. If I take a class that has high maneuverability and low durability, I can move in and out of engagements very quickly. However, because I have no durability, I must recognize very quickly if an engagement is a bad idea and leave it. If I take a class that has low maneuverability and high durability, I have time. I have time to trade shots with the enemy and think about making decisions or movements within that engagement. However, I do not have all the time in the world because if I'm invincible, nothing is a threat. Because I have low maneuverability, if I sustain an engagement for too long and place myself in a bad situation, I will not be able to get out. So I must commit to the engagement and find some way of getting out of it, even if the engagement turns against me. This means I have to react fast, just as fast as the speed build, maybe even faster because I'm slower overall, and be good at problem solving and resource management, i.e. my health, in order to survive. My strength is I make chip damage, not a problem, or totally irrelevant, so the only thing I have to worry about is the biggest possible hits that could hit me. Which, again, they must be able to kill me, because if I am actually invincible, that's bad game design. However, leaving this situation as it is, where sprint is the only thing that matters, is also bad game design. I need to be able to take lots of damage and almost not care. However, there is a limit to where this becomes totally broken. However, on the flip side, the Trailblazer Scout build is totally broken in the other direction. If I can simply run away from every problem, I am also not being challenged. I'm basically invincible, am I not? And even more so with the energy shield, because it allows me to have my cake and eat it too. This needs to be recognized and fixed before armor can actually matter. I personally use the Legionnaire set because I took one look at it and said, that's a mech pilot's attire. And specializing in being an exopilot was my plan the entire time. So if armor never actually gets fixed, well, at least I'll have the giant robot's armor. Similarly, a lot of people also look at armor as just cosmetic. And for the most part, you can get away with that. But if we want the protection level that each armor affords to actually matter, this has got to get seen to.